We're recording. All right. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the 2021 Ask the Candidates, hosted by the Woodruff Public Library. I'm Lindsay Herron, Library Director. Also on this call is Holly Berry, our Program Coordinator. We're excited to sit down with the candidates for Woodruff City Council and ask them questions submitted by you, the public.
Each candidate will be given 2 minutes to introduce themselves and hit on any key points to their platform prior to answering your questions. They will then get 15 minutes to answer as many questions as they can. At the end, they will each get an additional 1 minute to say any last thoughts.
Questions were submitted via Google form from the public and will be asked in the order they were received. Any questions containing profanity or deemed derogatory by library staff or those referring to another candidate or citizen will not be asked. Additionally, repeat questions will only be asked once using the language in the first submission. The candidates have not seen these questions before, and the library staff has not altered the questions in any way.
Lindsay and I will take turns asking questions. She will use a timer on her cell phone to ensure that each candidate sticks to the 15-minute time limit. She will give you each a 5-minute and 1-minute warning, and we will start the timer after the first question is read.
Candidates, as a reminder, should you go over your time limit, you will be muted. Furthermore, please refrain from referencing other candidates or citizens.
We want to remind both candidates and any viewers that the library does not support, endorse, or sponsor any candidate. This is simply an opportunity for each candidate to address the public's questions in an uninterrupted forum that is COVID safe.
We'll go ahead and get started. We're going to start with Melissa Bell Yates as she has another commitment tonight, and then we will proceed alphabetically through the candidates for City Council. Missy, your 2 minutes starts now.
My name is Melissa Bell Yates. I have lived in Woodruff my entire life, and I've lived on the same block almost my entire life. And I am a small business owner in the community, Rustic Roots, and that's me.
Okay, thank you, Missy. Mike, it is now your turn.
All right. First of all, I want to start out by thanking Lindsay and Holly and the library staff for hosting this, and all the other candidates for participating. My name is Mike Anderson. I'm a lifelong Woodruff resident, and I grew up on Ferguson Avenue and don't live too far from there myself right now. I attended St. Bernard's Grade School, and I graduated in 1986 from East Alton Woodruff High School. After I graduated from high school, I attended Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville, and I'm a geologist. I have worked in the mining industry, coal mining industry, for over 30 years. And soon after I started working, I married my wife, Charlotte, and we have 2 children, Brad and Kristen, and 2 grandchildren, Aiden and Liam. And Aiden and Liam, they all live in Woodruff, and Aiden and Liam attend Roxana schools. I've always been active in the community. Since I was young and I had kids, I coached baseball, basketball with the Park and Rec League, not soccer, but baseball, basketball, and softball. And after that, I got a little older, kids grew up, I became a member of the Stormwater Commission. After being on the Stormwater Commission for a few years, I became a member of the library board. And it was a member for the library board until recently when I became a member of the Woodruff City Council on the unfortunate passing of Gail Uford last July. So I spent my time working on issues, all kinds of issues, and I learned the most important thing about this job is listening to the citizens.
All right. Jeremy, you're out. And you're muted.
Okay, thank you.
Your time starts now.
Yeah, my name is Jeremy Plank, of course, running for City Council here in town. And I'm running because Woodruff faces some tremendous financial challenges. And as a CPA and a certified fraud examiner, I believe I'm uniquely positioned to help the city fix their finances. The city has raised the sales tax, they've raised property taxes, they've raised the water bill rates, raised the sewer bill rates. So they're pretty much out of tax raises, if you will. Not to belabor the point, but it's time to take a more balanced approach towards the financial position of the city. And with $25 million in pension debt and the city wanting to borrow an additional 7 to 14 million, we need to take a hard look at a more balanced approach for the balance sheet of the city. And, I'm asking citizens to stand with me as we reform Wood River and bring transparency to the city government. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. It is now Mary's turn.
Hi, I'm Mary Roberts. I've lived in Wood River my whole life, except for about 3 months. I have lived within half a mile of where I grew up. I have a sister that lives in Florida, and I had a brother who was killed in Vietnam. I have 3 kids, and they all live in the Riverbend area, and I have 10 grandkids and 4 great-grandkids. I went to St. Bernard's. I graduated from East Dalton Wood River. I was a police cadet for a short time. I worked at Amoco and Shell and retired from ConocoPhillips. I'm very involved with the community. I'm on CAP, the Community Advisory Panel with the refinery. I'm also on CERT, the Community Emergency Response Team. I'm very involved with other activities. I'm on OSF St. Anthony's Hospice and CASA, Court Appointed Special Advocate. Plus I'm on the Women's Club, and I'm very, very active at my church. I got involved and thought about running when I got involved with the Save the Roundhouse Committee, and went around and got petitions and talked to the people and realized that what their needs were wasn't being heard at City Hall. They were wanting more, the roads fixed, sidewalks fixed, water line, sewer. So I thought that I felt like the city wasn't listening to them. And so I want more transparency in our government. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, Mark, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm Mark St. Peters, and I'm running for city council. I want to thank the library for and those responsible for putting this forum together. For 30 years, I was with the Wood River Fire Department as a paid on call, helped keep our residents safe. And I'm currently serving in my 24th year as a school board at the high school here in Wood River, where I support staff and families to ensure our students achieve optimal academic success. I am mindful of the importance of teamwork and collaborative thinking to advance our city. I have exercised those qualities in all the civic endeavors, including the past 15 years that I'm on the Wood River Traffic Commission, where we work to citizens brings problems about traffic and stuff to the board, and we make a decision and present them to the council, and then they make the final approval. And as your councilman, I will work to correct the structural problems throughout the city. Our sewer and stormwater systems need structural changes. I want to address the floodplains and not just talk about it. I want to find solutions to this problem that has been plaguing our city for decades. And in order for the city to grow and progress, we must make it a desirable place where people want to live, visit, work, and start businesses. We need to look at the curb appeal, simple fixes with our streets and sidewalks to make them safe and functional as necessary. As your representative should be someone who can be a public servant, someone who has proven long-term dedication and commitment to the city. He must be an individual who has the ability to not only listen, but he must be a person who is not afraid to tackle the issues, raise questions, and be an individual voice, a voice vested in the interest of the city.
All right, Mark, we had to mute you. You've gone over your time.
All right, Mark, thank you. Scott, you are next.
My name's Scott Tweedy, and I'm running for city councilman, and I wanted to also thank the library for putting this forum together. I was raised in Wood River, and I have raised my family in Wood River. I've been in the same house for over 30 years, and I've been married to my wife, Leanne, for 38 years. I have 2 kids and 2 grandchildren. And I started my career, working career at Kenstra Concrete in Wood River, and then I hired on at the Wood River District, the old Illinois Power, now Ameren. And after working there for 20 years, I ended up hiring on at my local union, electrical worker union in Collinsville. I was there 19 years. and I retired. It'll be 2 years this June. This truthfully was something that wasn't really on my radar to run. I was approached by a few people about running and thought about it and decided that that's the route I would go. And it's been eye-opening talking to the residents. Some complaints, a lot of good people. I've met quite a few people that I hadn't seen for a long time. But my dad, Charlie Tweedy, now deceased, he ran Charlie's Drive-In. My sister now does, so there's been a business there in the family for 45 years. And like I've told people, I was used to looking across the street and seeing activity, the aquatic center, the old pool before that, and I would like to see something go back in there rather than just have a lot that needs mowed. But the concerns of the residents has been everything from water problems, water lines, sidewalks, streets, and I will definitely work to see that.
Scott, you've been muted. Your 2 minutes is up. I'm sorry. All right, so thank you guys all for your first introduction. We're now going to begin questions submitted by the public. So Missy, you're going to be up first. Get my timer back up to 15 minutes. I'll start this after I read the first question, okay?
Okay.
In 2019 and 2020, city employees actively campaigned for positions with respect to the 1% sales tax and the Save That Roundhouse referendums. What is your position regarding city employee involvement with campaigning, and what would you do to help employees so that they are aware of and do not violate any local, state, or federal campaign laws?
You're going to kill me. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. In 2019 and 2020, city employees actively campaigned for positions with respect to the 1% sales tax and the Save That Roundhouse referendums. What is your position regarding city employee involvement with campaigning, and what would you do to help employees so they are aware of and do not violate any local, state, or federal campaign laws?
I'm not up on the laws of it. I'm assuming it's not okay. Obviously, then they need to be aware of the laws and not do it campaign illegally. But I also feel like asking what the citizens want for that tax was important, and I don't feel like they were heard. So I don't know if that answers that or not, but.
Why did you decide to run for city council?
I've served on the high school school board for the last 6 years, and my seat is up in April, and I feel like I can be an asset to the community in a different way. So I decided to run for council.
What are your plans for existing projects in the city that could use some attention, such as downtown district, empty lot on Woodruff Avenue, and Envirotech?
Well, they definitely need to be addressed, and since they are unfinished, they should probably be finished before we start anything new. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where exactly they are with the projects on finishing, but they do need to be addressed, and we do need to see some projects finished.
What are your thoughts on the paperclip petition issue?
Waste of time. I don't know.
Okay. What is the first initiative to address if you are elected?
Our stagnant downtown business district, some of the other stagnant areas as well throughout the city. Sewer, the roads, the potholes, things like that.
How would you want the city to be more engaged with citizens, business owners, and visitors to the city?
Well, first of all, I think accessibility needs to be addressed. I think that that would help the citizens actually know what's going on in their town. So whether it be through social media, website, whatever, but also be present. It's huge. I'm a small business in the community, and being present is very important. It's a big deal.
What do you find to be the best feature of the city?
Can I say rustic roots? No. The best feature is the people. I mean, I've been here for 47 years, and growing up, I have relationships across the board, and opening up my shop, I have created more, and I feel like the people is what's the most important. It's our greatest asset for sure.
Current members / mayor, please describe our current infrastructure plan and where we are on the implementation. Example, sidewalks, street repair, etc. And future candidates, what are your thoughts on a timeline of those types of jobs starting and being completed?
Well, I mean, I can't really say when it's going to be completed, because I'm obviously don't know how bad the situations are, but they do need to be addressed. So I think that bringing attention to that as soon as somebody does get a seat is important, because they do need to be addressed. So.
Okay.
Okay. Those were all the questions that were submitted for you, Missy. So short and sweet.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Missy.
Thank you guys for doing this. I appreciate it. I am going to jump off so I can get to my school board meeting.
All right. Thank
See you
so
guys. See
much.
everybody.
All right. It is now Mike's turn. All right, Mike. In 2019 and 2020, city employees actively campaigned for positions with respect to the 1% sales tax and the Save the Roundhouse referendums. What is your position regarding city employee involvement with campaigning, and what would you do to help employees so that they are aware of and do not violate any local, state, or federal campaign laws?
Well, first of all, I would ask, has that been done? I mean, the person who submitted this question, was there actual illegal activity that's been done and hasn't been reported? Because that's what I would say. Of course, there should be no illegal activity among our employees, and it shouldn't be, nobody should stand for that. So if somebody's implying that, we need to get to the bottom of it. So again, I'm against people doing illegal activities, yes.
In May of 2017, a proposal to increase water and sewer charges was implemented. This was done to cover proposed maintenance in water treatment facilities and upcoming EPA mandates. After rates reached a certain level, $4.93 for water and $6.32 for sewer, they were to increase by 3% yearly beginning on May of 2021. My question, what projects have been proposed merely based on this increase, and what maintenance has been performed so far, and why are the rates not listed on our monthly bill?
Okay, and that's a good question. I don't know why they're not listed on your monthly bill, to start out with that one. As far as the rise in the rates, a lot of it was because we didn't have an increase for years. That's the way it was explained to me. There was no increase for a long time in our water rates. So to catch it up, we had to increase it. Well, I didn't, I wasn't on the board at the time, but this is my understanding of what happened. Okay. They raised the rates to bring it up to comparable to other cities. Okay. And the annual increase was to keep us from having to have a giant increase again after that shock to the citizens. So I'm not, as far as projects go that have been accomplished with that, I don't know. I'm not speaking for Steve Phelan, so I'm not really sure.
Why did you decide to run for city council?
Okay, well, first of all, it kind of asked me to run. Back in July of 2020, Gail Uford passed away, which, I mean, we can all agree Gail and Fred were an asset to Wood River, and it was a very sad thing. But I was asked to join the city council, and because of my involvement with the city in the past, and I've been active on different boards and things. The reason I've decided to stay and want to seek office after that, I can see Wood River has a bright future. Okay, there's potential here to make us a great town again. We have the opportunity with this 1% sales tax money to do projects that we would not be talking about right now. None of these projects would we be talking about if we did not have the 1% sales tax money. We wouldn't be talking about flood retention basins. We wouldn't be talking about a rec center. We wouldn't be talking about nothing. We'd be trying to see how we can keep the lights on if we didn't have the 1% sales tax. So I see that there's a future here for the citizens, and we can provide more services and make better place to live for them. And I want to help move Wood River forward and do it responsibly, fiscally, and make sound judgments to go forward.
Okay. What are your plans for existing projects in the city that could use some attention, such as Downtown District, empty lot on Wood River Avenue, and Envirotech?
Okay. As far as projects in Wood River, I mean, the ones I've been focused on have been the retention basins. Downtown Wood River is a great asset. It's been neglected for years, and the people of Wood River need to support it. Business owners downtown can only do so much. So as a councilman, my job is to do what I can to help them succeed, because their success is our success. I can't promise them money. I can't do anything like that. There might be funds that we can help, and I've already worked with one of the downtown business owners to obtain some money, to try to obtain some money. Nothing's done yet. So that's a priority for me. I've always loved downtown and think those business owners need to be supported the best they can. Other projects around town, of course, everybody knows sewer, water, sewer separation system. That's a big deal. That's a quality of life issue. I lived on Ferguson Avenue my entire life until I got married, and sewer separation is horrible there. You know, every time it rained hard, our streets flooded. Sewers backed up into our house. So that's kind of a passion for me. I don't want to see anybody go through that and have to live with that. And right now, we are starting a project, hopefully by next year, the State Street project, to take up to 830 homes off that combined sewer system. Okay, and that's done not by our normal tax money, because to do the entire city, it could cost upwards of $100 million to do the entire city on the sewer separation project. So we've got a $15 million piece of it that we're going to do that can take off these 830 houses. And that's what's going to be done starting in the next year or so. So hopefully I've addressed most of those projects. Envirotech, every once in a while you hear something going down there. There should be active recruitment on the part of the city manager and the city council to bring more businesses in there if we can. So.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the paperclip petition issue?
Next question. No, I thought it was ridiculous. I thought it was an attempt to subvert the election. It was a waste of, I'm not sure, I don't have this, let's just say thousands of dollars of city money and time. It was a joke. And it didn't do anything to move Wood River forward. It did absolutely nothing. It just showed that somebody didn't want to compete in the election. So, okay.
What is the first initiative to address if you are elected?
Okay, well, since I'm already on the council, we've already addressed one of my biggest initiatives, and that is the stormwater retention basins. There's 2 stormwater retention basins. Just last night, we passed a contract with Gonzalez Engineering to start the engineering work for the 9th Street retention basin that will take over 180 homes or close to that out of the flood zone. That puts real money back in our citizens' pockets. Some people pay $1,500 a year for flood insurance. That's ridiculous that they have to do that. So as a city, we need to be responsible to those citizens, get them out of the flood zone, move on, and allow them to have that extra money in their budget every year. The second one is the East Side Retention Basin. It's closer to my house. I live over in Heritage Trail subdivision. If we build this, or when we build this East Side Retention Basin, it's going to bring the other half of my subdivision out of the floodplain. That's going to allow for 32 more houses at least to be built. That increases our tax base. That's our future. It also is going to allow for commercial development along 143 Edwardsville Road there. Once that can take place, that also grows our tax base and is our future. So we need those things to happen in order to save our citizens money and hopefully increase our retail and residential development. But like I said, that's our future, because if we don't grow our tax base, we're dead. Okay.
Okay. How would you want the city to be more engaged with citizens, business owners, and visitors to the city?
Okay, well, I think the engagement with business owners and the individuals, that's almost up to each council member. And I've been around trying to knock on doors, not just do the campaign. I was downtown Woodruff talking to people, business owners. And so in some ways, it's the council member themselves that do that. As far as the transparency issue of the city government, I don't see it as a transparency issue. That seems to try to want to make something scandalous. What we have is an accessibility problem. Our citizens don't have access to the information, and that's a problem. They should have access to the agenda, anything that you can, almost anything you can FOIA should be accessible to our citizens. And I agree with that 100%. But I'm not going to call it a transparency issue and make it some kind of a scandal.
Okay. What do you find to be the best feature of the city?
Well, this is going to sound cheesy, but I think our employees. Since I've always loved Wood River, and I grew up here, like I said, and since being on the council the last 8 months, I've met all the department heads, a lot of the city employees, and we have a great group of people working for our city. And the taxpayers should know that they have dedicated individuals out there that are busting their butts every day for you and for that tax money that you're paying them. So that's one of the best things. And also, I love, like I said, I love Woodruff. I think Missy Bell said it too. And probably everybody on here can say that. It's my town, it's my hometown. So I know a lot of people here, and that's why I love Woodruff.
Current members/mayor, please describe our current infrastructure plan and where we are on the implementation, example, sidewalks, street repair, etc. And future candidates, what are your thoughts on a timeline of those types of jobs starting and being completed?
Okay, as far as one of the big infrastructure projects I've already talked about is the combined sewer, the separation project. That's going to be an ongoing project for years. I'm sorry, there's if anybody can pull $100 million out of any hat, more power to them, and they got my vote. But as far as roads and sidewalks go, my thing has always been, sidewalks need to be addressed. I've been out walking, as everybody else probably has. I've seen some pretty bad sidewalks out there, and they need to be taken care of, and they need to be a priority for the city. Should we spend $5 million in 1 year to fix all of them at one time? I'm not sure if that would even do it. I don't know if that's what the citizens want either. But I do think that if there's a safety issue or anything like that, we should address it for the citizen who is affected by that safety issue. And then we should have a long-term project to do it over time. Okay.
You say you are running for council to listen to what the citizens want. Why then did you keep voting yes on all aspects of the rec center when the majority of the citizens voted to stop?
Okay, I guess they're referring to probably the feasibility study, because that was the only thing I voted on. Okay, and I'm just going to put it out there for everybody. The first time the feasibility study came up, it was put on the agenda, feasibility study. Feasibility study, a feasibility study for the rec center. I'm sorry. Normally I go to my paperwork and I say, what does that mean? I'm not going to vote for something for the citizens that nobody tells me what it's for. Nobody calls me on the phone to ask me for their support for it. And that didn't happen. There was no support asked for that whenever it was done. And the word feasibility study, what's the scope of it? What's the cost? None of that stuff was given to me. Second time, I thought, okay, sorry, somebody asked for it again. The same thing. If I put on the agenda, build more roads, that's not going to cut it. People want to know what we're going to build. People are going to want to know what the scope is of the work. But we didn't get that. We got vote for a feasibility study. And I don't think that's what the people wanted. The people want a strategic plan for Wood River to address the issues that we have in this town, not just feasibility study for the rec center. Because like everybody's saying, when everybody voted against the rec center, okay, so then you want me to put money in the budget to do a feasibility study for a rec center that all the people don't want? That doesn't make sense to me. So no support, no documentation on what it was done or what was wanting to be done with that feasibility study. And I don't think it was really what the people wanted. I think the people wanted a strategic plan for the city to set priorities to see if the rec center is even on that list. If the rec center is not on the list of our priorities, then why do a feasibility study for it? I think that's where most of the people want it. I could have been wrong on that, but that's what I think.
Okay. What is your position on the city posting financial records and its checkbook online for all to see and examine?
Again, I think that goes back to the transparency issue. I think that's a great thing. I think we should be transparent if we can. But again, it's not that something that you can't go see right now. It's just an accessibility, and that would make it accessible. I agree, 100%. Awesome, let's do it.
Okay, Mike, that was our last question for you. So you finished with 52 seconds to spare.
All right.
Thank you. All right, turn this thing off so we can start over. All right, Jeremy, it's now your turn, and I'll start the timer after I ask this first question. On your website, you say the city cannot afford to develop and operate a recreation center and that the city should partner with parties such as the YMCA that have expressed interest in our community. Didn't the citizens vote and pass a sales tax with the intent to build such an amenity? Why can't the city afford to develop and operate a rec center with sales tax funds? And have you yourself spoken with anyone at the YMCA to confirm that they have interest in Wood River?
Well, first of all, I've looked at the rec centers in other communities near here. They're run by the villages and the cities. And in those cases, they're all subsidized by real estate taxes, which means they're not self-supporting. And in fact, the revenues for the rec centers in those other communities are actually going down over time. And I think that's a big reason why the feasibility study was resisted so much by the city council. Is because they knew that the outcome of a feasibility study would show that it would be a money pit. So why not partner with the Edwardsville YMCA, who has expressed interest in being here, but they want to work with city leadership that is open to the idea and willing to work with them. So why not, work with them in this case? They have a track record of success over in Edwardsville, running 2 major facilities over there, and citizens get really excited about the programs they offer. So why not let them do it so we can use our resources, our money, for the major infrastructure issues that that are on our plate right now. And that's my position with that.
Okay. You were the one who went to the plaintiff regarding the election petition objections. Do you know how much time and money the city had to waste because of the paperclip objections and lawsuits? Is this the type of fiscal responsibility we can expect from you in the future?
First of all, I was called as a witness, and I testified as a witness in that trial. And the judge made his decision, and I'm excited to campaign as a result of that decision. We have 6 candidates for 2 seats, and I'm running a vigorous campaign as a result of the judge's decision, and I'm excited to do so. I'm very happy about meeting folks. I've knocked on a lot of doors and talked to a lot of folks, and tried to understand the issues that they have on their plate. And frankly, that issue is not even close to being near the top. So I'm excited to campaign, and I will be running through the tape through election day.
Okay. You have stated many times that the police and fire pensions are underfunded. How are you proposing to make up that debt? Will people have to lose jobs, or will the city have to reduce services to make that happen?
That's a good question. It's a very simple answer, actually. $25 million in pension debt. And the sales tax proposal that was passed in 2019 actually allowed for operational items to be paid for with that sales tax. the restriction that is currently on the sales tax was a self-imposed city restriction. So they're restricting themselves in the way they spend it, and they, you know, their focus has been on the recreation center, the money pit that is a recreation center, instead of focusing on the pension debt, which is just this last year went up by $3.5 million. So it's a problem that we really need to focus on addressing, and no one has to lose their job over it. It's actually a very simple answer.
What would you like to see done with the now vacant property where the pool once was?
I think we need to re-engage the citizens in that issue, not just put money into that money pit known as a recreation center. We need to go back to the citizens. I know, you know, there were promises made before the last election that there would be grants pursued to fix the pool, and the repairs at the time were going to be $105,000. And instead, they said, "Well, we don't have the money to fix it." Well, they turn around months later and say, "We're going to tear it down for $110,000." So we need to re-engage the community and understand fully what they want for that spot. And you know, it's an unfortunate circumstance what occurred over the last several years with the pool being torn down. And it was a gem of the community. It was a gem of Madison County. And it's really unfortunate that 1 year after the election, they changed course and voted to tear it out.
Okay. Since there are no longer streets that flood in the city, what are you referring to when you state you can fix flooding problems?
You know, in 2016, the east end of town, that section of 143 flooded over for over 10 days. We just passed the 5-year anniversary of that event. Since then, there has been no ground moved. There have been no pipes put in place. There's been no remediation. And in fact, now we have 2 large bodies of water sitting right next to the road. So if we have another perfect storm, we could have another flood out there. So, and then you also have the insurance rates for those houses behind the hospital. It's really unfortunate that we've, as a city, has dragged our feet on this issue. And I say we, I mean, you know, I was not part of the decision-making on this. So, but now with my background as a CPA and a fraud examiner, my years of experience in government audits, you know, I'm well positioned to address these issues and to try to address the finances for Wood River.
Okay. In 2019 and 2020, city employees actively campaigned for positions with respect to the 1% sales tax and the Save the Roundhouse referendums. What is your position regarding city employee involvement with campaigning, and what would you do to help employees so that they are aware of and do not violate any local, state, or federal campaign laws?
Very good question. In 2019, I was the one who sued the city to demand that they take down all of the yes signs that they had put on. They put 2 yes signs on each city parcel. And then we discovered that they had a yes sign inside City Hall. So they were putting their foot on the scale of the election. And then, you know, later there are other details that I'm sure will come out about the influence, but I am against employees electioneering on taxpayer dime during city hours. That is completely inappropriate. And so, you know, I'm against that. And so what we have to do is we have to bring transparency to the city. And, you know, we shouldn't have to do a FOIA request every time we want to see how the city spends our money and how things are happening and things are going on inside the city. We shouldn't have to do that. It's very simple. And so I want to fix that.
Okay. You have worked for the county and attended county board meetings. There is a time for citizens to address the board. Like other legislative meetings, there is no question and answer period with the public. How is this any different from the way the city conducts its council meetings?
Well, let's look at this as a practical matter. Okay, a lot of the issues that have come up over the last couple of years could have been prevented had the city simply not ignored folks' questions and answered them when they were asked. So folks felt like they were being ignored by the city. And, you know, city council meetings could be, you know, city council members are getting paid to be there. So meetings that go 15 minutes every time they have a city council meeting, when there's no discussion, there's no vigorous debate about the topics on the agenda. You know, I want to change that. So, you know, folks in Wood River deserve more vigorous discussion from their officials.
Why did you decide to run for city council?
You know, I'm a CPA and a certified fire examiner. I've said that a couple times now, but it's my background that gives me a unique perspective on city finances, and I'm well positioned to roll up my sleeves and to help the city with their finances. The tax, sales tax increase, the real estate tax has been raised like the last 4 years in a row, and before that even. So up to and including this last time, where during the pandemic, they raised taxes once again. And so, you know, it's not just the real estate tax, but also the water and sewer bill rates have gone up over 250% since they implemented that policy. And they raised it during the pandemic once again. And then they went to a third-party biller. So, you know, there's, you know, those sorts of fee increases, those sorts of tax increases, they're only temporary band-aids for the larger issue. And so I think with my background, I can help the city, you know, begin to fix their finances. And we need to look for long-term solutions and not just, you know, cover it up with increased revenues from everybody's pocketbook.
Okay. What are your plans for existing projects in the city that could use some attention, such as Downtown District, empty lot on Woodruff Avenue, and Envirotech?
Good question. You know, we have two major state highways that intersect right in Wood River, and both of them bypass downtown. So there's no encouragement for folks to turn their blinker on and turn left to downtown. So we need to engage and incorporate 143 particularly into a larger plan to invigorate Ferguson Avenue and to bring life to downtown. So right now, the biggest thing that folks see when they drive from Alton onto 143, when they're driving through Wood River, are parking lots. And they're not going to stop for parking lots, they're going to go straight through. So we have to reinvigorate downtown by incorporating 143 into the conversation. And you know, it just starts with the energy and the focus of getting it done. And that I plan to, like I said, roll up my sleeves and do those things.
What is the first initiative to address if you are elected?
The first initiative, you know, the transparency issue is the biggest thing. It's the easiest thing to deal with. Folks need to know how the city is spending the money, and they shouldn't have to file a FOIA request in order to see and understand what the city is doing. Okay, so that's simple. But, you know, there are several initiatives that I want to follow through on. Obviously, the flooding issue, which, you know, we just passed the 5-year anniversary on the east end of town. And the city's been dragging their feet on the issue behind the hospital. You know, I'm happy to see that now they're starting to re-engage that issue after pushed back on them with the roundhouse because they were wanting to spend that money on the roundhouse initially. And when we pushed back on them with the roundhouse, they thought, well, maybe we should sort of turn this a little bit and start, maybe they have, you know, something to their points. And so now they're starting to want to re-engage the flooding issue and make it a big deal about it. And even though it turns out that they're not even going to start those projects till future years. So, you know, I want to address the flooding issue, and so we can re-engage business on the east end of town. And then, of course, obviously the insurance rates behind the hospital. So I'm happy to work with the city on that retention pond on 9th Street.
Okay. How would you want the city to be more engaged with citizens, business owners, and visitors to the city?
The transparency thing is a big deal. I feel like, you know, we shouldn't have to, in the middle of February when it's 7 degrees out, ask people to walk up to the glass door of City Hall in order to see the agenda for the city council meetings. Okay. And Folks need to see, they need to see how the city spends their tax dollars. They need to see when the city raises the real estate tax levy by 4.9%, they need to be able to see that, and not just a link to another website for the county, and hope that they are able to dig through that website to find it. They need to be transparent about those things so that folks can be engaged. And right now, you have to file a FOIA request in order to get the information. City officials, it helps them because then they can control the narrative and they know who's asking and they know why they're asking, so they can prepare an answer. That's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be where they post the information on the website. We're in the, we're in 2021 now. It's easy to post that information up there. It's very simple. So that would be super easy solution.
What do you find to be the best feature of the city?
I saw this last summer with the Roundhouse campaign, but it was just the energy behind folks to develop a family-friendly environment. There were several of us, including Mary Roberts, that we stood up to the city on the Roundhouse. They wanted to tear it down, and that was evident by the grant application. And we stood up to them, and folks just got energized, and they wanted to know how they could get involved. So it was almost like a small army of folks who just banded together and worked together, and they want to see improvement on the family-friendly environment here. And it was really nice to see that energy.
What information does the city have that is not already available to the public, either by phone call or FOIA request? Does your definition of transparency just mean to have the information available online? If so, who would be responsible for updating such information, since the city does not employ a full-time, our time is up. Sorry, I was trying really hard to get through that for you. So, sorry, Jeremy.
It's okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Mary, it is now going to be your turn.
Okay.
You ready, Lindsay?
Yep.
Okay. You made a Facebook post on October 19th, 2020, stating that the city turned down an offer from the YMCA to build a $15 million recreation center with a pool. Did you talk with a representative from the YMCA to verify if this was true? If you did, then why? If you did not, then why would you make such a claim?
In October?
October.
I did not talk to anybody from the YMCA. It was from a FOIA request that one of the citizens had gotten, since I'm not supposed to mention names, and it was on there that they had talked, that he had talked to the Y.
Okay. And thank you for following our guidelines. In 2019 and 2020, city employees actively campaigned for positions with respect to the 1% sales tax and the Save That Roundhouse referendums. What is your position regarding city employee involvement with campaigning, and what would you do to help employees so they are aware of and do not violate any local, state, or federal campaign laws?
I don't think that they should be campaigning while they're on the job. And I think that if they were, that the city should be telling them that they can't do it. I don't think that I'm not sure what the laws are with that, but if you're not supposed to do it, then they're not supposed to do it.
You recently stated that you wanted more community events. How many community events can you name that the city is responsible for on a yearly basis?
The community has the Easter egg hunt, and they have the ice cream social. They also have the Veterans Day, and I would like to see maybe other things other than that. I like to see the community more involved. When you have a Veterans Day or a Memorial Day activity, there has been times when there's a handful of people. So I would like to see that the kids are more involved. If you go to one in Alton, they have high school kids come sing. They have a middle school kid. They have the kids involved. I think we need to get our kids involved in the Veterans Day and the Memorial Day, and let these kids become more patriotic.
Why did you decide to run for city council?
I decided to run for city council because when I was on the Save the Roundhouse committee, I went out and talked to a lot of people. And saw that they weren't so interested in the new rec center because they actually wanted a swimming pool, and that was not what they were going to get. But they were talking about the sidewalks. When you talk to some of the elderly, more elderly than I am, and they're complaining about the sidewalks and they don't have the money to get them fixed. And they're concerned that somebody's going to get hurt on the sidewalk. Or when you find out that somebody had fallen on the sidewalk, fell out of a wheelchair and nothing was done about it. And they were told the city had no money. And so it was like, you hear this stuff, and when you went to the city council meetings and you told them about it, nothing was done. And then I found out later on that there's a fund that they don't advertise, that these people could have got those sidewalks done for free. And they weren't even, nobody even knew about it. So I think that's what got me involved, was I wanted to get out there and help and make the city a better place.
What are your plans for existing projects in the city that could use some attention, such as Downtown District, Empty Lot on Woodruff Avenue, and Envirotech?
Envirotech, I have no idea how to bring more people into there. Downtown Woodruff, I have talked to one of the owners down there, and I am not real sure what we said a while ago about people coming through Woodruff, all they see is parking lots. And I have been told by other people, maybe they should do something instead of advertising the store on the Ferguson side, they should put signs on the Madison side, so that people, when they come through Woodruff, they will see those stores.
Okay. What
and
are
then
your, oh, sorry.
The empty lot where the swimming pool was, I'd like to see something go there. I'm not sure exactly what, but I think something should go there.
Okay. What are your thoughts on the paperclip petition issue?
I thought that it was unnecessary, and I wish it hadn't happened.
What is the first initiative to address if you are elected?
The first initiative is getting these sidewalks fixed for these people who have either gotten hurt on their sidewalk or have seen other ones get. And that, because that's what I started out with, is helping them.
Okay. How would you want the city to be more engaged with citizens, business owners, and visitors to the city?
To be more accessible. I think that with the business owners, if they have something going on down there, that the city council people should, or the city should go down and be there. They should go in and see how they're doing, you know. I'm not a business person, so I'm not exactly sure how we would get more businesses in there, but I think that we should be more accessible.
What do you find to be the best feature of the city?
The people. I've lived here my whole life, the people. It's home. When you go someplace and everybody, and they get together and they all want what is best for Woodruff. We all love this town.
Current member / mayor, please describe our current infrastructure plan and where we are on the implementation, such as sidewalks, street repair, etc. And future candidates, what are your thoughts on a timeline of those types of jobs starting and being completed?
Okay, I'm not sure the timeline. Well, we've heard what the timeline is on the retention behind the hospital, which I pay flood insurance. The sidewalks, I think that the ones that people have gotten hurt on definitely should be the first ones to get done. That's going to be a while. You're not going to be able to do the whole city at the same time. I believe the city is responsible for those sidewalks, and the people should not have to pay for them. because there's a lot of subdivisions that don't even have sidewalks. So I really can't tell you what the timelines would be.
This question is for Jeremy Plank and Mary Roberts. Per the op-ed in the paper, you two were on the Save the Roundhouse committee and dedicated hundreds of hours to this cause. How much money has the committee raised and how have you spent, or how do you plan to spend this money? Mary, only you answer, please.
Repeat that.
This question is for Jeremy Plank and Mary Roberts. Per the op-ed in the paper, you two were on the Save the Roundhouse committee and dedicated hundreds of hours to this cause. How much money has the committee raised and how have you spent, or how do you plan to spend this money?
I don't think that we raised any money. We didn't raise any money on that.
Next question. I am a resident that is in favor of a recreation center, but opposed to tearing down the roundhouse. When you approached my house to sign the petition, you did not mention that I was also supporting stopping the recreation center. Why do you think it was fair to ask both questions as a yes or no answer on the ballot?
And that's for me.
Mhm.
Okay. I think I don't remember ever not telling somebody that it was for to keep the roundhouse and to put a hold on the money being spent on the rec center. And if I did forget to tell somebody, I'm sorry, but I think I said that to almost everybody I went to, that it was a two thing: to stop with the rec center. We want to stop the rec center and keep the roundhouse.
What is your position on the city posting financial records and its checkbook online for all to see and examine?
I think that would be good so that people can see what's going on.
Okay. Mary, that was your last question. You had more than 5 minutes left to spare. You guys are quick. All right. So, Mary, thank you so much for that. Mark, you're going to be up as soon as I can get my timer back to where it should be. Go ahead, Holly, whenever you're ready.
Okay. Mark, what is your question, please? Oh, sorry.
Nope, that was my bad. Sorry,
Nope,
didn't proofread.
In 2019 and 2020, city employees actively campaigned for positions with respect to the 1% sales tax and the Save the Roundhouse referendums. What is your position regarding city employee involvement with campaigning, and what would you do to help employees so that they are aware of and do not violate any local, state, or federal campaign laws?
Well, first of all, they shouldn't be campaigning on city time. If they want to do it on their own time, that's fine. And then they should post rules and laws in their lunchroom or wherever so they can read them and know what if they're doing something illegal.
Okay. Why did you decide to run for city council?
Well, I was asked by a certain person, and then I want to see Woodruff move in the right direction, and I want to see things get done. And I just don't want people talking about what they're going to do. I want it to be done, and I think I can be a voice for the people and help move the city in the right direction.
What are your plans for existing projects in the city that could use some attention, such as Downtown District, Empty Lot on Woodruff Avenue, and Envirotech?
Well, Envirotech's they've had one tenant down there that's been pretty permanent, but the rest of the building, they've had several over the years in and out. I think they need to advertise more and see if there's, help if somebody's interested in putting a business there, help them apply for grants or see what money is available to help them start their business. Downtown, you just need to get out, and the city needs to go talk to the business owners that are down there and ask them, if they need anything, what the city can help them do, and what could bring more people to downtown. And it's a joint effort. Just not the business, but the city's got to get involved.
Okay. Mark, what are your thoughts on the paperclip petition issue?
It was ridiculous, waste of money at the city level and the county level. And I've been running for school board for 24 years, and I've always paper clipped my petitions together and never had a problem. So it was just a waste of time.
What is the first initiative to address if you are elected?
Well, I'd like to get the stormwater and sewer water runoff, try to get it completed, because I know it's been going on for back in the late 70s. They were talking about getting that done. So something needs to be done, not just talk about it. It needs to be need to come up with a plan, find a way we're going to get the money to fund it and do it.
Okay. How would you want the city to be more engaged with citizens, business owners, and visitors to the city?
Go out and talk to them, find out what they want.
Okay. What do you find to be the best feature of the city?
Well, like everybody else said, the citizens, we're a community, and the community makes the city. So that they're the best feature. We got to provide stuff, things for not just the old, but the young. So we all can have something to do in our city.
Current member/mayor, please describe our current infrastructure plan and where we are on the implementation, such as sidewalks, street repair, etc. And future candidates, what are your thoughts on a timeline of those types of jobs starting and being completed?
Well, as far as timeline, that's you got to work within your budget, and the getting the sidewalks and the streets fixed. You drive around the city, and there's you see street barricades up for a sinkhole that's been washed out. They need to, we need to keep that up. So, I hope a car don't fall in one on Monday. And the sidewalks, like Mary said, they need to be fixed. Get the ones that people's been hurt on first, because we don't want somebody to get hurt on a sidewalk that somebody else already got hurt on. And the citizen's gonna go, why wasn't that fixed? We just need to, find out make a list and do by priority.
Okay. Mark,
Thank-
yeah, you were quick.
All right, thank you, Mark. That was the last question that we had for you.
Mhm.
All right, last we have Scott. In 2019 and 2020, city employees actively campaigned for positions with respect to the 1% sales tax and the Save the Roundhouse referendums. What is your position regarding city employee involvement with campaigning, and what would you do to help employees so that they are aware of and do not violate any local, state, or federal campaign laws?
Oh, Scott, you're muted. There we go.
All right. If they knew what they were doing was wrong, it should have been stopped early on. But I don't know that all the city workers were doing it. I wasn't really aware of all that. But if it's against the law, definitely stop. And I think it was Mark that said you can post on bulletin boards what's allowed and what's not allowed. But I don't believe city employees should be involved with things like that at all.
Okay. Why did you decide to run for city council?
Like I said earlier, I was approached, and I've been here as many years as I have. I see what's going on around town. I think there's been a little bit of bad information and a little bit of misinformation. And I told my wife, I said, if I'm get elected to the council, I will definitely find out what's going on then. And I just, having went around and talked to as many people as I have, I don't think they're as negative as some of the people have been talking about the issues of the city in such a negative way.
What are your plans for existing projects in the city that could use some attention, such as Downtown District, Empty Lot on Woodruff Avenue, and Envirotech?
Envirotech is a tough one. I'll tell you how far back that goes. I ran the power into that with a crew. So that's how long ago that was. And it really has not moved forward. And I think that would be the toughest of the three things. As far as where the old pool was. Something needs to go back there. I don't know to what extent or what expense, but we need something back there. I think it's terrible that it's nothing more than a lot that needs to be mowed. And I was not for tearing down the roundhouse, and not even certain that it ever really was a proposal to tear down as much as it was an architectural option. At least that's what I've been told. As far as downtown goes, if they can bring Eastgate Plaza back in East Alton on Route 3, and you go by there now, it's booming. At one point, I think it was close to getting completely tore down. So I think Todd Kennedy, the developer, he's had businesses in Alton, Belleville. I think he would be someone that I'd like to talk with and see if he could do any plans for downtown Wood River.
What are your thoughts on the paperclip petition issue?
Like everybody else, it was ridiculous to have someone object to it without even going down and inspecting the petitions himself. Dirty politics at its worst. It was a waste of time, money to get served papers from the Madison County Sheriff's Department. It was nothing short of shameful.
What is the first initiative to address if you are elected?
After walking as much as I have, I think the sidewalks are really a big deal, along with the streets. I would like to see the retention basins. I'm really wanting to get those things moving along as quick as we can, because 143 can't really be developed off 255 until those are in place. Pontoon Beach has like 6 hotels, and they're off the interstate. I don't see any reason there couldn't be a hotel put out there.
How would you want the city to be more engaged with citizens, business owners, and visitors to the city?
Please ask that again.
Sure. How would you want the city to be more engaged with citizens, business owners, and visitors to the city?
I think it's just a matter of listening to people and talking to business owners and find out what their concerns are and what are the impediments to where they can't move their business forward.
What do you find to be the best feature of the city?
Again, the people. I think with the negativity, it's easy to get down on things, but I think the people are basically positive. I think there's more right with this town than what's wrong. And I have a newfound belief in that this is a good city to live in. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. Current member / mayor, please describe our current infrastructure plan and where we are on the implementation, such as sidewalks, street repair, etc. And future candidates, what are your thoughts on a timeline of those types of jobs starting and being completed?
I think a timeline is important. I won't know until it's, when you get into budgets, where the money is and where you're going to put that money. That's when I think I could better answer the timeline, but I think moving forward, we need to move quickly.
Okay, Scott, that was your last question. So we will now get to our 1 additional minute for last thoughts before we end our Zoom call. Since Missy has moved on to her other commitment, we will start with Mike. I will get my 1 minute timer, and Mike, go ahead.
Okay, well, actually, just hearing Scott talk, that reminded me of something that I neglected to say as far as along the timelines of the projects. On the retention basins, the East Side Detention Basin is scheduled to start this summer in July. Okay, we're waiting right now for approval of our EPA loan. That's 25% forgivable. And then last night, I believe we were told during the council meeting that the East Side Retention Basin should be at least started by next summer. And so those things, people shouldn't be waiting for those for very long. And that's all I wanted to clarify, that just to make sure that people do see the timelines of those projects to move people out of the flood zone and to hopefully start retail and residential development on the east side of town are happening fairly fast. And the council has been mindful of that and trying to keep it moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Jeremy, it is now your turn.
Sorry, I was muted. Well, I said before that I'm running for city council because, I want to roll up my sleeves with my background as an accountant, as a CPA in government audits. I can dig in and help the city really readjust their balance sheet and their focus and how they spend their money, and bring some transparency to it so citizens have more power over what's happening with their tax dollars. I'm well positioned to be able to help the city with finances in that regard. And I am excited to be able to hit the ground running after the last several years of standing up to bad policy and really trying to influence change to save the roundhouse and to stand up to electioneering. So I'm excited to move forward and see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. Mary, it's now your turn.
Okay. I want to be able to help. Like I said, I enjoy going out and talking to people. I am not a politician, so this is my first time ever doing anything like this. But I just want to help. I just want to make my city a better place. And I want to make a comment about one of the questions where you asked earlier about the money that we campaigned for. We didn't campaign for money. We campaigned for the roundhouse. A lot of the money was put in by a certain individual. And I do know that we gave, when Gail Uford died, that was part of one of her memorials. So people did give to the memorial for that, but that is the only money that I am aware of.
Okay, thank you. Mark, it is your turn.
Okay, yeah, I just want to say that I'm running because I want to see the city move forward in the right direction, and I want to be the voice of the people, and because it's the people's voice that needs to be heard to help move this city forward, and just need to talk with the people and see what they want and try to work things out and be their voice.
Thank you. And Scott, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm ready to get started and get rolling after talking to people. It's been an education and a learning process for me. I'm not going to make a lot of promises that I can't keep, but a lot of good people in this town, and a lot of us have the same concerns. I think the downtown district is really a big one.
Okay.
Thank you to all of our candidates for taking the time to join us on this Zoom call. If anyone would like more information about any of the candidates featured in our Ask the Candidates videos, please head to our website, woodriverlibrary.org/b-a-voter for links to their campaign pages.
Election Day is Tuesday, April 6th. Be sure to get out and cast your vote, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, thanks.